Okay.
Promote first.
Yes.
You guys are
Recruit second, then sell. See? Just multi-purpose. What I learned from you guys
You just
today.
want the first part though, promote first?
Huh?
You just want the first part of it?
Yeah, how to promote.
How to promote?
Yeah.
And it's just, you mind miking up Ben?
It's been Rife, right? Rife? Rife? See, you wrote this book for you. You know that, right?
Why's that?
Because you're trying to work out your own thing.
That's true. We live out there?
Yeah, we live, man. We live. I got Ben here with me, Grant Cardone in the house.
Uncle G.
Come on.
Uncle G.
One of my oldest nephews right here.
Can you keep the lights? Guys, I promised you the interview. Here it is. Here's Uncle G promoting the new book, Hyper Grow Your Business.
I like the title.
You like that?
Hyper growth. Scale, 10x, expand, blow up.
You know, I should have called it 10x Your Business.
The other people are doing that, actually.
We got the lovely Miss Carrie Lynn in studio as well.
Now, guys, Johnny, where are you shooting from? Here? This camera? We're just going to pay attention.
This is the main camera,
Okay.
and then when you guys talk to each other, don't even pay attention to these cameras.
Okay.
Reaction
All right,
shots.
you ready?
1 second.
Is this in the way, Johnny?
No.
Put it right behind the shop, behind your container right here. Where's our coffee cups? I'm not selling Earth's finest Fiji bottled water.
Give me a 10x cup.
Yeah, let's get this man a 10x cup, okay? Can we get him a 10x cup? Tell Katie. I'm gonna stress you out today, Johnny. I'm gonna put it on you, dog.
Okay. Can we get 10x mug, please? Yes. Thank you.
For our guest, Ben. Y'all ready to roll? We sound good? We sound good? We sound good? Say something, Ben.
Hello, testing, testing.
Ben is
How's
on
that, Johnny?
test.
Sounds good.
Good, good. Hey, welcome to Ask. Yeah. Johnny.
Coming to you live from the 305.
You gotta do it.
Oh, no, not right now. I hate that thing, dude. Just give it to me, man.
Don't hate it. Don't hate it. Come on. Embrace it. Embrace it.
Johnny, you ready?
Yeah.
I hate that thing. Hey, welcome to Ask a Pro. Grant Cardone here. My goal in this show is to bring you people that are successful in their space. I have today author Ben Rife, Hyper Grow Your Business. How do you scale out your business and hyper grow it? He's the president and CEO, founder of Bullfrog. Okay, guy came from very humble beginnings like I did. Here he is today. Inc.'s 5,000 fastest growing privately held company in the USA, greatest country on the planet. From Troy, Michigan, he runs data center facilities in Chicago and Dallas. Is that right? Okay. Business for 15 years. Ben, good to have you here, man. Appreciate you. Okay. He called me. He said, "You're Uncle G." I said, "Well, you're my oldest nephew." Okay. So look, let's talk about the book first. I can get it on Amazon. I can also get it on your website, benrife.com. What does Hyper Grow Your Business mean?
So I'll start with tell you where the book came from. I met a man a couple of years ago. I read his book, Jack Daly.
Yeah.
Do you know Jack?
No, I don't.
We need to have him on the 10X Growth Con circuit.
I love it.
But Jack wrote a book called Hyper Sales Growth. And I called him up after reading that book and I said, "Jack, your book was phenomenal. I want to figure out how you built a $1.6 billion business and sold it." And he's done that several times with multiple companies. And so I flew down and met him in North Carolina, spent 3 days with him, and learned about how he built his sales teams, how he built people in quality and quantity, how he and things like that. And so Jack inspired me to write a book. And so following on in his precedent, the book picks up where Jack left off. Jack was focused on the teams and on sales process. This book is focused on the business owner that is looking to grow and leverage technology to enable his sales teams and to grow.
And you know a lot about technology because you're in the telecom space,
Yeah.
all right? And so I asked you in the office before we met today, what is telecom so people understand? I think people think they know what it is, but like when you say telecom to a client or a prospect, or maybe you're recruiting for your company, and I know you are. When you say telecom, what exactly do you mean?
So telecom traditionally means a phone system in your office, in your closet with phone lines. That's what telecom used to mean. Today, telecom means communicating with your clients however they like to communicate. So
Could be Skype, could be
absolutely.
GoToMeeting, Zooms,
Could be
cell phone.
Could be texting.
Could be okay.
Right. So audio and video conferencing, instant messaging, presence. That is the way we communicate today. That's the way we sell today.
So let's say I'm either a solopreneur or maybe I'm a company up in Troy, Michigan, and I have 30 employees. You call on that company. Your company calls on them to replace or sell them what?
We sell them a service. So the days of having an on-premise phone system are gone. The need for a desk phone on your desk is not necessary anymore because now it's been replaced with a cell phone, with a computer, with a tablet, a mobile device. So we sell them a service to run voice traffic over the internet.
And how do you scale? I mean, when you're calling on these companies, because that's what you're doing. You're not calling on individuals, right?
Right.
What is the biggest problem you see in these companies with them hyper growing their business?
Sales is actually what we see is the number one hurdle to growth. So nothing happens until something gets sold. And as you and I were talking earlier, promotion, recruit, and sell, right? So sales is critical to every single business. And so we're seeing that as a hindrance to the sale, or to the growing the business.
Yeah. And so is it because the company's not selling, they're not promoting, they're not pitching, they're not getting out there, they're not thinking big enough? So when you talk about hyper grow your business, or Jack Daly, when he wrote his book about hyper grow sales, you said he left off and you picked this up. What do you mean by that?
So we deal with, just recently actually, we have a lot of 10X customers that we have onboarded recently. And one of them is a gentleman with awesome truck repair out of Augusta, Georgia. And he is handling phone calls at his cell phone. He's trying to manage sales, but also be the technician. And so what we did for him as a solopreneur was we put an auto attendant in place to manage all of his calls, to make him appear a bit bigger. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the hurdles. Getting started, appearing bigger than you are. Size matters. That's the title of one of the chapters in the book. Being able to appear larger than you and more successful than you are, gives you credibility.
Yeah, size does matter, right?
Does.
Or at least the perception.
Yeah.
And they say perception is reality. Like whatever you perceive to be true.
Yeah, so that's one of the hurdles getting started in business. When you get your hustle started, that's one of the things that one of the tips, one of the hyper growth tips in the book to get started is to put an auto attendant in place.
How did you get started?
That's interesting. So when I was a kid, I grew up in, like you said, in humble beginnings. In Flint, Michigan, my dad had a 4th grade education. And he was all about scarcity. He was all about saving for a rainy day.
Well, dude, he was from Flint.
He was from Flint. He was originally from Southwest Virginia, but 4th grade education, and he kind of tried to instill that into us. I have a twin brother, by the way.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I ended up working, and when I was 15, I had a job making $3.65 an hour, working at a water company, filling 5-gallon jugs, loading up the trucks, and I realized very quickly that I was not going to become a millionaire anytime soon doing this. And so I took my dad's lawnmower, went down the street knocking on doors. One customer became 2, became 5, became 10, and I realized I had another problem. There wasn't enough of me, right? Too much business and not enough me. I realized I needed to multiply time. One of the things that you say, I needed to multiply time. So I recruited my twin brother. I recruited my best friend, some neighborhood kids, and turned that into a pretty nice stream of income by having them do the work. And I found out I was good at collecting payment. And so
you were probably too generous with them.
Yeah, I was. I was feeling a little guilty because I was there doing all the work, right? And I had it easy collecting the money.
Yeah.
But
You're the mafia.
Yeah.
You're the Michigan Mafia.
Something like that. Yeah. So that's how I got my start early on. Later on, I did the college thing. I went to college. My dad wanted me to follow in my brother's footsteps, go to Michigan State, get a degree in engineering, work for General Motors.
Yeah.
Because it's safe.
Yeah.
Right.
No, yeah, that proved that worked well.
Right. And so
General Motors, they'll never go out of business.
No.
They'll never need help from the government.
No. Never be let go. They'll never do away with your retirement, your pension. So I actually I decided to part ways with my employer.
And who was that at the time?
I was working for a company called Analyst International.
Okay.
And so I started off. I got a degree in electrical and computer engineering, and so I started off in the technology. I really should have went to school for sales, business management. I mean something entrepreneurial, right? And so I followed the engineering track, became the top in my field. Michigan State came and did a story on me. And in the end of the story, they wrote, Rife plans to own a business in the future. Well, my employer, for some reason, just didn't jive with them. They didn't like that. And so
they didn't like you getting attention.
Right, right. Didn't like you getting attention, or the fact that I would start a business in the future, and I wanted more than they could give me.
Yeah.
And so we parted ways. And so I started with nothing. And I went back to my roots, back to knocking on doors with my lawnmower. I called on the people.
You started mowing lawns again?
No, not mowing. No,
but
I started knocking on doors.
Yeah, and
right?
selling what? What were you selling then?
My services, just strictly services in the technology space, networking services, routing, switching, security, wireless.
Okay.
And so I did that. I called on people that I had done business with, people that knew me, that liked me, that trusted me. One customer became 2, became 5, became 10.
You didn't need to go to college to do that, did you?
I just had this conversation with Miss
But
Carrie
did the college thing help? Like it did.
You know what? I don't want to deter anyone from going to college, but I think things are. I could have. I feel like I wasted a lot of years of my time by going down that path. My dad.
I think I'm not to. I mean, to interrupt you, I guess. I think a lot of people go down that path and think it's going to do something for them that it doesn't.
You're right.
And then they're like, but why didn't something happen here? You come out the freaking college, out the back of it, and you're like, I got my certificate.
Yeah.
What?
There's a lot of truth to that.
Right.
I consider that a 13-year. It took me 13 years after graduating from high school to finally get
out of college.
No, start my own business.
Slow.
Start my own business and try to make the money that I wanted to make.
Yeah.
So I got more education with street smarts than I ever did with books.
Not knocking on doors. You start learning how to adapt.
Yeah.
How do I handle this? How do I come back? Oh, maybe I need the mom and the husband together, right? So you start making some of those. So your first business really came from a company getting rid of you because you got too much attention. That's interesting after what we talked about.
Right.
That's really interesting. And then when did Bullfrog come along?
So, so what happened was with the first company, Integrity Networks, we were installing phone systems. And we would install a 50 user system here, 75 over there, 100 over there. And I realized that they are spending a lot of money. They're only using a fraction of the system. And it's kind of a one-hit deal for me, one and done. And so I decided, I got to build a recurring revenue stream here, right? I need to build an annuity-based revenue stream. And so I spent a little over $1 million, 1.2 million, in 2008, and built out this phone system infrastructure and put all of our clients on it. And one client became 1, 2, became 5, 10, etc. And
where'd you get the $1.2 million from?
So business had been very good. We'd done very well. So that was all self-funded.
But what business was that? Was that the
Integrity? It was Integrity.
Was that your company? Okay.
Yep. So what happened was, so we still operating under the Integrity name. We hit 2013, and I had a conversation. It was time for a hardware refresh. We had a data center in Detroit, and our hardware was starting to expire, have problems, failures, and I happened to have a conversation with a man by the name of Marcus Lemonis.
Yeah.
You familiar with Marcus?
Yeah.
Marcus.
Saw him at Opelika the other day.
Oh, did you really?
I was flying in, he was flying out.
Okay, yeah. So Marcus said, Ben, I don't understand technology. I don't know anything about your business. I think retail is his play, right? He said, I'll tell you what, your people, it sounds like you've got good people, but your people are not your problem. Your process, you've got, you're maniacal about documenting your process. Everyone's process could use improving, but your process is not your problem. Your product, at the time we were selling Cisco phones, Cisco, you're selling a premium product at a premium price, but your product is your problem. That was a kick in the gut. Because I knew I had 7 figures invested in this infrastructure that I was married to.
Wow.
But I knew he validated what I already knew. The industry had changed because the next generation business phone isn't a desk phone, right? It's the cell phone that I'm videotaping.
So you were
right
disruption, and Lamona saw that. Hey, this thing's going away that you have.
Exactly.
And you had all this money invested in it. Like you're chasing that piece of furniture that you've been building the whole house around.
That's it.
I can't get rid of that.
Right.
And he had $1.2 million invested in that product. So, like, how did you finally pull the lever and say, "Hey, ditch it"? Like, because that's a hard one to eat at $1.2 million.
It is, but I could see the industry was changing. Our customers were demanding more. The way business is done now is very mobile, right? The business is no longer just done at your desk, in your office, in your building, right? It's done on the road, in your car, from a coffee shop, from a hotel, airport, from your couch at home, or at the Regala on your balcony, right?
Yeah.
That's where business gets done. Regalia.
Regalia. That's the name of it.
That's where business gets done, and so I could see business we needed a solution that was mobile, right? We needed a solution that would empower sales teams.
Yeah.
And so it was, we did our research and we decided we got to do something different. And it wasn't Cisco. And so we spent a year to build out this infrastructure, and we had a migration plan over the course of a couple of years to migrate all of our clients. And so we retained about 95% of them. So
you went back to the customers that were on the program you had, started moving people over.
Yeah.
Had to be some loss in that, right?
There was about 5% loss.
Yeah, and then so how does now Ben, with his new book Hyper Grow Your Business, how do you transition from that Cisco dependence, which I would expect you were a bit dependent, to your new product, Bullfrog blowing up, like a what's a bullfrog? What's the sound a bullfrog makes?
Ribbit.
Ribbit. So how do you do that now? How do you scale here 4 years later? How do you scale from the $1 million business you have to 10 million, 50 million? I mean, is the play to become an acquisition for somebody else? Or?
Yeah, that's usually in this space. That's what happens.
Yeah. So what do you need to scale to do that?
100 million. And it's through sales, right? Sales.
8 million a month.
Sales.
8 million a month.
8 million a month. Just shy of that.
Okay. You just shy of that right now? What's wrong, buddy? Do I get some piece of this when we bullfrog to Wall Street?
I'll give you a piece.
If Blackstone buys you or something?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do people out there, Ben, in summary, what do people need to hear? Like, how important is the scaling? You played the game, mowing a lawn, bringing your brother on. There's a lot of businesses out there that have a brother working for them, or mother, or wife, or whatever. How do you go from that to scaling a business to start thinking about $8 million a month?
I'll tell you. You know what? This is interesting. I was here a few weeks ago in North Beach. The last time I was here filming, and I had a realization. So when I was in college, I had I think this is in the book. I was traveling. My first airplane ride was from Cincinnati to Chicago on business. And if you remember your first time you've ever flew,
it was United Express or Delta, the Delta region.
Yeah.
Which one was it?
It was actually Northwest.
Okay, sorry.
Northwest.
Can I tell a real quick story? This is that I did a Northwest flight out of Grand Rapids, flew into, I think it was Columbus. No, it was Minnesota. It was a Northwest flight, regional. When we hit the ground, I'm sitting at the exit door. The exit door falls out of the plane. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That doesn't happen on the 10X airlines, I'm sure. The Gulf Stream. You know.
No, the door doesn't pop open.
So, but you know what? That was a. So this is actually part of the story of how I got in business as well. And that airplane ride, I saw for the first time. I saw the clouds, the sun. Like this is freaking incredible.
Wow.
Right, and my mind just started to spin. Like I got to do something bigger than what I'm doing. I got to do something bigger. And but another epiphany happened when I landed. You know, that night I got settled into the hotel. I wanted to get some dinner, and I realized, you know, there's the only thing around is a Olive Garden. Mm-hmm. Man, the place is too expensive. I can't go there, right? What do a fancy place like that? I don't know how to act. I don't know how to dress.
Right.
How to order.
Dude, I know. I've been through all that, man. Thinking the Olive Garden was a big deal.
Yeah, you too, huh?
Totally.
And so I had to.
Can I afford this?
Yeah, exactly. And even, you know, having some of these thoughts, even when I made my first million, having that same thought, well, you can't buy a BMW, right?
They're going to turn you down in finance.
Right. You know, or this restaurant's a little too fancy for me. So I realized mindset.
Totally.
You got to get your mind right. You got to get your mind right, your money right, your heart right. Right? So in hyper growing your business, and there's a chapter dedicated to this, you got to get your mind right. You got to realize that you deserve more, that you want more, right? You can be more, have more, do more, and give more. And so that is one of the, I think, one of the biggest hurdles as well, you know, in addition to sales, is you got to have the right mindset.
How important has it been getting out of Flint? I mean, Flint, we laugh about it, but I mean, the reality is, if you look at what happened in Flint, this is what happens to people all over the world, man. You know, Flint just happened to have a big run. Most places around the world never have a run. Flint had a massive, unbelievable run because of the auto industry. And then it went into a decline. Like Detroit, other cities are going to happen. It's going to happen in other cities up there. How important has it been about you leaving home, wherever home was, and meeting new people, going new places, getting on that plane ride, being in the clouds, meeting the Lamonas, spending time here?
Listen, you just hit it. I can't believe you're asking this. I remember vividly my older brother. He left and went to Lansing, went to Michigan State, and stayed there. He didn't return back to the nest. But I remember him as I was getting ready to go off to Michigan State. He said, "Ben, do not go back home. You want to leave that place, get out of there." And I thought, well, that's my plan, but I didn't really understand why he was saying that. Why he was so adamant about it, right? My twin brother.
He's younger or older?
My older brother.
Okay,
he told
your
me,
older twin.
No, my older brother said, "Get out of here."
What did your twin say?
My twin brother stayed.
Yeah. Now, my twin brother moved out first. He went to Corpus Christi, and he told me the same thing. Hey, man, get out of there. I stayed for another 6 years. It was ugly, too. It got worse and worse and worse.
Well, I watched.
So your twin brother stayed.
He stayed,
Yeah.
worked for GM, still works for GM, and, you know, he's living that lifestyle. So I think he's been hindered by that decision.
Yeah.
So
what's his first name?
Brad.
Ben and Brad. He's younger or older? The younger twin?
He's about a minute younger.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm the older brother.
They could have screwed up the whole order of things when you came.
They
out.
could have. I was baby A. Were you baby A?
I don't know. I think they just wrote something on. Call him Grant. Call him Gary.
Yeah.
It was last minute selection.
Yeah.
Huh? Who knows?
Yeah.
Right. Who knows?
They probably
In the Chinese say the first twin out is the youngest twin.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah,
but whatever.
So back to that point, Grant. You know,
but your brother. The point is, your brother stayed, and he's still making corporate wages.
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
And Ben left, and whatever. You both have challenges and everything. It doesn't mean you're any happier than he is. But
right.
There's a different game being played. You're writing a book.
I wrote a book. Made my first.
You're figuring out how to scale to
100 million. Made my first million by 30, right? And it wasn't by corporate America.
Yeah, it wasn't mowing lawns either.
It wasn't mowing lawns either, right? And so it was, you know, even buying my first house. I bought a house that was probably 5-6 times the size. I know.
They got you there, didn't they?
They did.
They got you, huh?
They did. Bought my first house. You know, I was 5 or 6 times the size of the house that I grew up in.
Right.
And my dad came for the first time, and he was shocked.
Yeah.
Growing up in about a
What have you done, son?
Yeah. Well, growing up in a 700 square foot house in Flint to now.
Yours was 700 square feet?
7 to 9. Yeah.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
You guys were high rollers.
Yeah, we were. I think my dad bought the house for $800 or something.
Wow.
Yeah, big money.
See, and that's the point he's making. How can you hyper scale? How can you scale your business? How can you 10x when you spent the most formidable years of your life, like from birth to 7 or 8 years old, man? Everything's happening. Just watch any kid. And all he sees is 700 square feet, the way his dad thinks every day, save the bread, put that piece of bread back, put that in the refrigerator, put that in a container. You saved everything? Everything, man. Ice cream in the refrigerator, got one spoon left, and sitting down there, like taking up this much room, and there's one spoon left. By the time y'all get to it, it's got frostbite on top of it. Right?
Absolutely.
How can you spend 7 or 8 years in that kind of environment and think it's not going to affect you in high school, college, and when you're building your business?
It does. And I found when I first went to go look for a house, I found that I was looking for the house that I grew up in, only to find that the area I was in, that was the garage. Right. So,
and then did you feel like, oh man, am I getting ahead of myself here? Am I getting over my skis? Is this too much?
I did. But what I found is that, just like I think Andy Priscilla was sitting in this chair a couple of days ago, right? And Andy said, you stretch yourself, right? You take bite off more than you can chew, and then you just fill it in. And that's what happened.
Yeah. The name of the book is Hyper Grow Your Business. It's at Amazon. Right now, you can go to the Amazon, or you can go to Ben's website, benrife.com, benrife.com. Get the book, okay? I'll sign a bunch right here, so the first ones, me and Ben will have signatures in here. And Ben will make sure you get it. Bullfrog.com, by the way, is hiring people, okay? This guy told me about the opportunity at Bullfrog if you're in Flint. Where else could you hire people from? All over the country?
All over the country.
If you don't live in Flint, if you don't live in Detroit, if you're not in Michigan, by the way, okay, and you're looking for an opportunity, if you got hustle, check him out. Ben Rife at bullfrog.com. Hyper Grow Your Business is the book, okay? Ben, you're an awesome dude, okay? A good American success story right here, folks. How many times, but let me ask you, who gave you better advice, me or Lamonis?
You by far.
Thank you. So look, I'm going to add one thing that Lamonis, the advice Lamonis gave Ben was about, and his 3P thing that business owners have been told for years: people, process, and product. Okay, he said his product was wrong. You guys got to get this promotion thing right. Okay, there's no reason to promote if you're not going to grow. If you're going to grow, if you're not going to grow, you're going to stay small. The promote thing needs to be one of those things you add to the 3 Ps that the Prophet talks about or that Lamonis talks about on the Prophet. Product, people, process, promote. Ben, thanks, buddy. I appreciate you. Good having you here. Good. Awesome.
Be careful with the mics.
Yes. Oh yeah. Be careful with the mics.
I think I walked off with the last time.
Yeah, I do it every time. I've only been doing it for 3 years.
So what made you leave California to come out here?
Taxes, man. Pretty simple. We're stealing from you.
Great interview, guys. Great interview.
Yeah, that was good. Real good. Real
Once we produce this thing, you guys are going to be like, hey.
You want me to finish it?
Oh, yeah?
Huh?
Or no yet?
See you guys
Say
later.
something?
Go ahead and swipe that up. Swipe that up. I'll wrap up with Uncle G. I'll see you guys.
Say bye.